The first two stimulus payments, that's right, back in April and May of 2020, and then the one that was paid out around the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, did you get the full amount? And if you didn't, is there something you can do about it? Yeah, there actually is. I've got that coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. So there's been 3 direct stimulus payments so far. Gosh, they're already talking about the next stimulus plan. Apparently it's just infrastructure. Will probably not include direct payments. As I hear more rumors, I will share those on this channel. So once again, make sure you subscribe, leave comments below. But check out this graph, this chart that I made that shows the various stimulus payments that have been sent out, the 3, the amounts and the income qualifications, and then the changes as to how they treat children. So I did an update just recently, last week, about the 3rd stimulus payment, which is the biggest one and should the most people should qualify because it includes kiddos, but it's a shorter runway. It's a tighter income band, which means fewer people could qualify that way. So it's going to include kids, but it's going to exclude a lot of people that were on the bubble with their income. Good news is with that, if you didn't qualify because your income was too high, it's a 2021 tax credit. So if you didn't qualify, work with your certified financial planner, do everything you can to qualify in 2021. Now, don't go out and quit your job. Keep earning as much as possible, but do tax planning to get your adjusted gross income down low so that you get this tax credit, the stimulus check, on your 2021 tax return when you file it a year from now. Same principle applies for stimulus number 1 and number 2. So take a look at these. Here are the details. The first stimulus check was passed in the CARES Act. It was paid out in April, May timeframe of 2020. $1,200 per adult, $500 per child. The phase-out ranges, this is your adjusted gross income, not your total gross income. For single, $75,000 and below, you got the whole thing. Okay? If your income was above that, but less than $100,000, you were phased out. So you got a partial. And if your income was above $100,000 as an individual, you got nothing. Double that for married filing jointly, okay? And had a household, you're somewhere in the middle. Kiddos, though, this was the big debacle. For those kids to qualify, they needed to be younger than age 17. That's right, when they turn 17, which is not an important birthday, you don't really care, but on your taxes, for some reason, that's a sticking point. And so they did not get a stimulus. You did not get a stimulus if your child was 17 or older, and they couldn't go out and file their own tax return and get their own stimulus. So those income thresholds at that time were paid based on your most recent filed tax return. So if you'd filed your 2019 tax return in the spring, like you probably did, then it was based on 2019. However, if you did some tax planning like we were encouraging you to do at that time, maybe you held off filing your 2019 return because your 2018 return had you qualify for that. So, all right, now look at number 2. The second stimulus payment, direct stimulus payment, was the smallest one. This was $600, and apparently that's what everyone said okay to. And then right at the last minute, every politician came out of the woodwork and said, it should be $2,000. For whatever reason, there's no reason why it should be 2 other than $2,000's more than $600. Don't get me started. So $600 per adult, $600 per child. Income phase outs were the same, and they still excluded these adult children, adult dependent children, and it was paid out in January. Some people got it the last week in December. All right, what do you do with that update? What do you do if you didn't receive those? Once again, these were 2020 tax credits that were paid out to you in advance if your income was eligible based on your latest filed tax return. Therefore, if you did not receive them all last year, before you file your 2020 tax return, do tax planning. This is another reason to wait with filing your return. Get it all done. We got to be able to see it. You've got to be able to see where your income is, and you've got to be able to work with your CFP so they can see what opportunities exist. Get it done. Just don't sign those e-files. Don't turn those e-files in. If you didn't qualify for either of these first two stimulus payments back that were paid in 2020, you could get them as a tax credit on your 2020 tax return as long as you qualify then. So look at your 2020 tax return, sit down with your certified financial planner and say, oh, could we make an HSA contribution? Could we make an IRA contribution? Could we make a SEP contribution? Is there self-employed health insurance we could deduct? What other changes can we still do right now before the tax filing deadline? We have until May 17 to improve your adjusted gross income for 2020 and potentially make you more eligible for receiving these stimulus payments that you didn't receive last year when everyone else did in advance. So the big idea is, if you didn't receive a stimulus last year and you received a reduced one, do tax planning. If your income was $200,000 for an individual, yeah, there's not enough tax planning. The tax shelters available, they're not enough to get you below that limit. So you're fine. But if you were close, if you were on the bubble, before you file that 2020 tax return, sit down with your certified financial planner. It's their job. It's their job to be creative with your situation and do two things. Make sure you avoid tax surprises, but two, do everything possible, come up with every opportunity to improve your tax situation. They'll just run through the list of ideas that could improve your adjusted gross income. That list might be very short depending on your circumstances, or there might be some things that you can do to actually get more stimulus. So before you file your 2020 return, work with your CFP. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com, that's Korhorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com, you can find us there as well. Or just send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.